Finally, Galactica! Today, we learn the rules of the game! I bring to the arena!
Okay, so first, there's two cards in Fight League Galactica. There's a monster cards, and there are booster cards. Additionally, if you notice on the top right hand corner, there's a round circle which it signifies the energy type of each of the monster or the booster cards. And this energy can be used to, when you're bringing out a monster or a booster, some of them require energy types to actually activate. So if you look on the Parasite card, you can see there that it requires an elemental energy to give 500 points. This infinity sign means it can be any other type of energy. So it needs any other type of energy with an elemental energy to give you 1500 points, and it needs two any type plus an elemental energy to give you 2000 points. So let's carry on. So basically the top right hand corner is the energy type, and it can also be used as an energy card when you're bringing out stronger monsters. So let's go through the monster cards. So first we have the energy type, which I mentioned before. There are 4 energy types: elemental, nature, psychic, and techno. Then we have the requirement type. In this case it's alpha. There's a blank type which hasn't got a requirement type really. Then you've got an alpha type and you've got a beta type. Maybe in later editions, when I start changing these cards, it might be alpha, beta, gamma, because I think saying blank types, that is a bit of an effort really. And this, I've called this the attack bar. So this lets you know how to attack and the energy requirements. So as I've said before, to get 500 attack points, you need to put at least one elemental card underneath it of any variety. Then the infinity means any type. And then you've got the special ability. So for Parasite, its special ability is can use one of opponent's energies. It says share there. So if you're against an opponent, you can use one of their energies. For example, if you've already got an elemental type out energy underneath you, you can use one of theirs to get 1500 points. So these are the monster types, or the energy types. You have an elemental monster, you have a nature monster, which we have Tree Slug there, you have a psychic monster, we have Night Flower, and we also have a techno monster. So this is just normally nature strong against elemental, psychic strong against nature. So if you look on the Night Flower's special ability, if opponent is nature, times your power by 2, monster times 2. So, and then techno are strong against psychic, and elemental are strong against techno. So these are the booster cards. So here we have Psychic Fire, just psychic card. So the top left hand corner we have booster category type. So this is A1. So this goes A1, A2, A3, A4. I just tried to for ease, put them into different categories so I can break them down when I'm starting to draw them. It means there's going to be a lot of booster type cards really. This is the booster energy type, so he's a psychic one. This is the requirement type, alpha, so that means basically if you look at the bottom, increases attack power by 2000 but requires an energy, so it just requires an energy to do it, hence it's an alpha booster card. What have we got next? Playing the game! Okay, so 1. Both players deal out 5 cards. Zinc, 2, 3, 4, 5. Before you play, you draw 1 more card. Bang! Okay. The first cards that are played must be greater than 0. I just wanted to make a rule saying you can't just put down an empty card. You can't just put a monster down on itself. Because if you put down Grandmaster, for example, on itself it would have no attack power. You'd have to put another psychic card underneath it, a psychic energy, to have 1000 attack points. it just keeps driving the game ahead. So these would be your two options on them 6 cards. You could use Milfoid and Ghoul, so you could actually play Mecha Ghoul on himself, because if you notice he has not applicable, so he doesn't need an energy to actually attack. But for Milfoid you need a technical energy to attack for 1,000 points, so you could either use them two, or you could use these two. So Grandmaster requires a psychic energy to get 1,000 points. The booster cards can't be used on themselves, they have to be boosting a monster, so you can't just put the booster card on itself there. Okay, so player 1 puts his card on the field, so I'm going to simulate the game now. So he puts down Milfoid and then he backs him up with Mecha Ghoul, gives the energy, so that gives an attack power of 1,000 points. So there you go, attack power 1,000 points. Player 2 plays his cards. So these are the general rules. They must be higher than the previous player's attack. You can put any number of cards down, but the result of them must be higher than what the previous player has put down. As soon as it's higher than the turn, as soon as it is higher than opposition's attack, it is their turn. I just wanted to try and flow it, so you put down a value, as soon as they get higher then it's your go. It means that you can't just bulk up all your plays down and then basically make it too difficult for the next guy to go. I suppose it can be used as a tactic basically. So in this case, player 2 puts down Granite. So you notice he has an elemental monster, so he requires an elemental energy, so he uses Snow Freak. And he also, to get it to 2,000, he uses Night Flower, so he gets attack points of 2,000 attack points. So player 1 plays his cards. So he puts down Lightning Speed, and he's using that as an energy. So that's plus 1,000, so it's now 2,000 points. But if you notice his special ability, he can copy any monster on the field. So he copies Granite. You can copy any monster that's actually in play. These energies aren't in play, unless the special ability does say you can copy energies as well. Anyway, so copy any ability, which he copies Granite, so it's plus 1,000 for every additional elemental monster used as backup energy. And as he has used a backup energy, which is Lightning Speed, which is an elemental energy, he gets another 1,000 points, which means now he gets knocked up to 4,000 points. So player 2 now plays his cards. Yeah, I've done that wrong. So Morphoid should be 4,000. Okay, so now he plays Parasite to fill in that final energy, which gives you 3,000 plus the final, plus the 1,000 used because of the special ability, which gives you 4,000 points. So in this case, now both players are on 4,000. Normally you have to go over, but it's probably, if you can only manage to be equal, then that is just the way it is. It has to be equal, and then it's the next guy's go to see if you can cause any more damage. We'll probably make it the rule that you have to go over if you can. If you can't, then then you just have to keep it as equal. Right, so the Grandmaster is played now, so he's now using a different monster. You can bring different monsters down the field, so that they're all still in play. And he uses Brain Bug to activate him as 1,000 points. So I've calculated it wrong, but let's just carry on as if I didn't calculate it wrong. Maybe I didn't. Okay, let's say I didn't. And okay, so now he's got 1,000 points. But also, if you notice his special ability, if played as monster, other monsters on the field are increased by 500 points. So Milfoid will be increased by 500, giving you a total of 4,500. So this Grandmaster card with a special ability, he would be quite useful when you have a lot of cards out, because obviously that would stack up as you get multiples of 500. Now it's player 2 game. He brings a new monster in the field, which he brings Mecha Ghoul. And as Mecha Ghoul requires no energies, it's just an increase to 5,000 straight away. But also his special ability kicks in, gets 1,000 points for every additional elemental monster on the field, both yours and the opposition. So as is one monster that is elemental in the field, that gives you a boost to 6,000 points. I've said that carries on until someone can't beat the last guy. So in between goes, you obviously pick a card up, Yu-Gi-Oh style. I draw! You pick a card up before each time you play. So that means there's always constant cards getting put into your hands. Also, some boosters and some monsters have the ability to pick up cards as well. Some like high scoring alpha cards or high scoring blank cards may also have it so that both players pick up cards. Additional notes: monsters cannot be moved out of line with their first opponent unless they have a specific ability or a card is played which allows this is played, which is a little bit rubbish English, but all I'm trying to say here is so each one of your cards, as you attack your opponent, you can't move him to fight Mechagool. So maybe say Night Flower, he actually is fighting an opponent, which makes him stronger. But you couldn't, the top guy couldn't move Tree Slug and say, well, hang on, I'll move in. As soon as you face that opponent, you can't move unless you play a booster card which allows this to happen, or you play a monster card which allows this to happen to move some of your attack. So additional notes: special abilities of your monster or applied boosters are only related to the opponent directly opposite unless stated. So if you were to apply a booster to Morphoid, it's only relative to Parasite. So if you had a booster that said if opponent is elemental, add 1,000 points, that can only work because Parasite is elemental. If you apply that to Mechagool, it would work on him as well. But if you applied it to Tree Slug, it wouldn't work against the psychic monster. Here we go. And other things. Okay. So there are, like I've said before, there are 3 main categories of monster. So we have alpha monsters that require energies, but only energies to play. So you notice their techno energy is required for 1,000, and then you could just fill up with any old variety to get you to 3,000 points. Beta characters require monster sacrifices. So in this case, Death Slug requires 1 at its highest level. Maybe some of the others would just be like a monster at any level, or it might be more than 1 monster, depending on how powerful that monster is. Obviously, it'll take a lot more to sacrifice to bring him out. There's also blank characters require no cards to be played. So these are used mainly as blockers. So when you bring out a card, it has to have an opponent if there's an opponent there. However, you might want to go, well, hang on, I don't want to use that card against that opponent, so I use this low power card against him, and then I'll bring out another card, and it's to an open field then. However, these are weak characters normally, only 500 points for him. Same with the boosters. So here we go, Brain Bug. Blank boosters require no cards to be played, so that could be played straight onto any of your monsters, and it'll boost the booster increases your attack power by 500. There's also alpha boosters require energy, so in this case Psychic Power requires an energy. It's not a specific type of energy, and that increases your attack power by 2,000. And then there's beta boosters which increase your power by 5,000. This body clone does, but requires 1 monster at full power. So in this case, if you had a monster that was at full power on the field, you could take him off, bring out your body clone, whatever it is, elemental beta booster, and whack it on to any of your other monsters that are on the field to increase your power by 5. And more other things. Okay, so what are the more other things? If you cannot go, your final turn involves throwing away your entire hand and picking up 1 more card. This card can save you. So what I wanted there is that, okay, you're going to lose, nothing you can play will do any good. So basically you throw away your entire hand and you get to pick up 1 more. And if this can be played, you can play it, and if it's higher than the opposition, then it's the opposition's turn to play. And then obviously, if you can play, that's obviously beneficial that you can carry on the game. And then when it's your go again, you pick up another card. So basically, you're in a disadvantage still because you only got 1 card, but at least you're able to carry on. And you could always get more cards back if you were to play a card that allows you to pick up cards.